While this podcast may discuss medical issues and at times answer or discuss listeners' questions, this podcast is not offering any individual medical advice, nor meant to substitute for individualized professional medical treatment or advice. So please remember that all content is for informational purposes only. And please consult with your own healthcare provider for your own issues and diagnosis. If you think you may have a medical emergency, do the right thing and call your doctor or go to a local emergency room or call 911 immediately. Never delay seeking individualized help for a problem based on something discussed here. Take care of yourself. You're worth it. What about that harmonica, huh? Oh, God, I'm losing it. That was a harmonica riff is by the very talented musician and cross-dresser Travis Townsend, who is, Travis, come on here, man. This is my producer, my engineer. He does everything. How's Paris? It looks
Stay the fuck out
smoky.
of my diary, man. Could you please?
It was your sock drawer, how I found everything out. How you doing, man? How's everything in, where do you live again? Azusa, Monrovia? Where is that shithole? What is it?
It's Azusa. It's just east of Pasadena, about 3 hours for the people that are trying to find.
Okay, hold on. If it's 3 hours.
No, it's 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. Okay. And can we get an address for people that would like to?
Nope.
Okay. Boy, they wouldn't want to walk in on you. I'll tell you that, man. No. How's the ponytail? Let's get a look at it.
It's glorious.
Look at it.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it's
oh, and I love to take you from behind. That is that's lovely. When are you going to cut it?
That's just a filthy visual for me to try to wash away. Never.
How do you think I feel? Let me ask you something. Because I've always wondered, I'm jealous because, as you could see, my hair is starting to look like my left nut. But I've given up. I've given up. You know, Dave Landau is on the show. Good-looking guy, and he's got that baby fresh skin. Looks like he just dropped his placenta. Yeah. I mean, good-looking. He's going to be with us shortly. But you know, I've given up. I've given us my COVID head, and I'm like, I'm just, but I've been off, I stopped Twatter, which I like to call it. Been off that now because I saw the documentary, the Social Dilemma. And, not that I see a documentary, oh my God, but I was,
it moved you?
Too much social media. And not that I have a lot of followers. So I called them all individually. And I said, look, I'm going to be leaving Twatter. And they were like, can we talk to Ray? So, not a lot of people cared. I'm getting into this show, Peaky Blinders, on Netflix. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't.
Brother, unbelievable. I know I'm late to the party. Fucking amazing. Called Peaky Blinders. It's this Irish cast. Brilliant. It's amazing. Every time I see something that's done out of America, whether it's the UK or Ireland or Tehran, which is where I get a lot of my news feed. Whenever I see something, I mean, almost anywhere, especially the UK, and you watch a production, it's hard to find a bad fucking actor on the screen. I don't care if they have two lines or the lead, but you look at some American television or even some of the films that are being made in 2 months that are coming out, and you're like, oh God, it must be rough to, but like every time I watch a Brit, like The Crown, I love The Crown. And I have no sense of history or anything, and it bores me, but I watch The Crown.
We're Americans, so why would we bother with history?
Well, you're American, Travis. I've given up my residency in America, and if fucking Captain Marmalade gets in again, which he won't, But if he does, I'm moving to Tehran. I think I don't know what, but check out Peaky Blinders. It's
My friend who's
Ray turned me on it, and he's
from
like,
England
yes,
told me about this. And just like when you go into an Indian restaurant, if you
yes,
see Indian people in there, it's going to
yeah.
be good food. This guy said, and he's from England, he said he never misses any Peaky Blinders. So I probably should queue it up and watch it. I heard it was really good.
Yeah, I don't get the Indian food transition. So what I would
Horrible
like for you
segue, was it?
what I would like for you to do now is turn off your camera and crawl back in the tent. No, don't. Oh God, he really did that. All right, man. Have you ever seen Dave Landau stand up before?
I have. Very funny guy.
He's a fucking monster. I got to tell you something. I'm enamored by his talent and his story, which is crazy. And I said, I'd like to spend some time with Landau on the road. I had a few dates a couple years ago when people used to do live performing. I said, maybe I'll see if Dave will open for me because he's a headliner in his own right. I said, would you open for? Oh my God, could barely follow the fucker.
He made you look good, right?
No. I'm saying he was tough to follow. He was good.
I know,
Travis.
but he gave a good show.
There's none of this. No, it was amazing. I'm following him, and Izzy's in the back, eating a ring pop, going, maybe you should get a guy that does music, So I got her I gave her a nookie and put her on her activity blanket. But let's show some footage of Dave Landau, man.
All right, you got it.
Okay.
I don't know. If we do have kids, I don't want to be one of these parents who are always showing people photos of their children. It's annoying. My wife has a friend like that. She's always showing people pictures of her kid. Just look at my kid. Have you seen my kid? Picture my kid. Look at my kid. Look at my kid. Picture my kid. Have you seen my kid? Look at my kid. Picture my kid. Look at my kid. Just relax. It's been 2 years. You're not going to find them. I think I'm ready to be a father, though. Like, I'm sober now. I used to drink and party a lot. Like, I used to drink a lot, and then they put a breathalyzer in my car, and I thought, oh, maybe I have a problem. I had to take my mother-in-law to the airport with a breathalyzer in my car. She's a very sweet woman from the Midwest. She didn't know what it was. She gets in, she's like, Dave, thank you so much for taking me to the airport. Not a problem, Mom. Happy to help you out. No, you're a good man. Okay, it's not a big deal. No, you're just a good man for my daughter. Okay, relax. What does that do? It starts the car. My car uses keys. This is new. What if it doesn't start when you blow into it? Then you're gonna have to blow into it.
Some of my favorites. Dave Landau, everybody.
Hey,
also
what's
the
up?
co-host. How are you, man?
Good,
Some of
man.
the funny shit. Some of the
Thank you.
funniest. That was on Last Comic Standing?
Yes, it was.
And oh God. And how far did you win that?
No, not even close. I won a couple more rounds, and in one episode, I didn't offend Roseanne. She didn't get a joke, and I made fun of her for not getting the joke, and then I wasn't on the show anymore.
Did she really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a cunty move.
Who
could have been fun? Who could have been funnier than you?
It was interesting to not get a joke and be kicked off television, and then a couple years later watch people not get her joke and see her get kicked off television.
Yes.
It all comes full circle.
It always. What was that like doing that show? I mean, people that have been on the show say it's fixed. And then and I heard that some people that, are on the executive producer side, they kind of groom some people they want to win. And the network was kind of involved in who they wanted to see advance. Any truth to that or what?
The first time I did it, it was entirely the manager who ran it. I'm blanking on his name. He has a podcast. Okay. He's known in comedy, but yeah, it was completely rigged. The year I did it, it was only in the sense of it had to fit certain genres of people, if you will.
Right.
So, but Paige Horowitz and Wanda Sykes were the producers, and they were genuinely two people that really cared about comedy.
Yeah.
They just wanted it to be funny.
Love Wanda. Yeah.
Oh, she's great. And she really pushed for me. And I think Roseanne did too. I think it came down to producers worrying about the edginess and the stuff that I was doing.
Yeah.
Because even
that was some of your lighter stuff. That was some of your lighter stuff, right?
Yes. And that,
I mean, those are two jokes. I love those two bits that we just saw, but that's kind of, I mean, you get down there, right?
Yeah.
You get edgy, right?
Yeah. And I wanted to open the whole, I wanted to open so they knew my character of, okay, I'm a recovering drunk and I have a sick sense of humor. And they took my entire 5-minute set and they opened the season with it. So it was almost like a late night show at like 9 p.m. on NBC. So they definitely liked me. And Keenan Ivory Wayans is one of my heroes. So being in front of him, and dude, he reinvented what a reverent comedy is. I love Keenan Ivory Wayans. So the fact that they liked me, it meant the world. But I think it just came down to I didn't quite fit the mold they wanted to go into the finals.
Mm-hmm. As opposed to what was funniest.
Correct.
Right. Well, I will be talking to them. How is everything? You're the co-host of the Anthony Cumia show, right?
Cumia.
Am I saying that right?
Yes.
What is it?
Cumia.
I think you're saying it wrong. It's
Mexican
Cumia.
fella.
I go to the rehearsals, Dave. That's a difference between. You look so good. Don't I look like I should be selling my plasma to a clinic right now?
That's you a little bit.
Comics are so fucked up, aren't we?
We
are.
A lot
of us.
It was cool because last night actually Rich Voss came to my show and did some time and stuff. And tweeted,
love Richie.
Dude, he's great. And then he tweeted about how much he loved my show and how he loved that I was talking about my past and all this. And
what a compliment. Where was the show?
Uncle Vinny's in Point Pleasant Beach, New Jersey.
So they're open.
They're 25% capacity. Yesterday was the first show. It's good because I can sell exactly 25% capacity, so it all works out. It
makes a full house to you.
Yes, packed, sold out.
What was it like? Now, was that the first? Have you done any of this virtual crazy shit, or was this the first time you got up, or what?
I did one virtual show, and then right when I was about to chase down a handful of pills with vodka, I just decided not to do them again. Right, absolute, dude, they're the worst, most uncomfortable thing.
It's got to be unbelievable, especially when you don't have an act, you know, and you're like, you know, what am I going to do? What are you, Mexican? You know, what would I do? I can't even think of that. Sorry, Travis. I can't even think of that. But so you're at Uncle Vinny's, and what's the vibe like? Is everyone masked or no?
They're masked, except if you're eating or drinking, which is the rule. And they're happy, man. They just want to be out of the house. Everybody's been locked up for so long that I think it comes down to two things. They're like, we can finally go to a restaurant, and other people are like, we can finally burn down a restaurant. It just depends on what your mood is.
So now were people wearing the masks like during the show? Could you hear them? No.
Oh yeah, you could hear them. Yeah. Everybody's social distance. So everybody, I'd say in that room, way more than 6 feet apart. It's but it's a smaller room, so it doesn't matter. It's low ceilings. It works, you know. If it was a larger room, I don't know. I can't imagine doing a 300-seater at 25% capacity, but we'll see because we're gonna have to at some point.
I don't know, man. It's it's killing me with Vegas. I'm trying to talk to the fucking governor. He won't take my calls. Why would he? But it's like they've forgotten the entertainers in that town, which is the backbone of Vegas and always has been. You know we want to come back safely, but like they're not addressing the entertainment scenario. And then you'll see 50 whores out at a pool, you know, doing whatever they're doing. And then, and then you see, 50 people at a chicken wing place, elbow to asshole doing there. And you're like, why can't we start entertainment back slowly? And they'll go, well, people can't buy tickets. And I go, well, what's the difference if they're buying wings or they're buying a ticket and there's a trio playing at a restaurant next to the governor? Sisolak is saying there can't be entertainment. There's footage of him at a restaurant in Vegas next to a jazz trio. And it's like none of it makes sense of when they're coming back. But if they said to me, you can open your room at 25%, I'd go under. I mean, I couldn't open the doors for that. But
no, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go. But I'm glad. So it felt great to get back on stage. I mean,
I've done it a couple times since then. I went to Arkansas once because there they just think you can pray it away, so they've been open.
Right.
And just a couple of those places, but they're great.
Oh God, what's it like working Arkansas? I mean, do they get you?
They do. Some of the jokes you're like, sure. I'll put that on the old back burner. But for the most
some
part,
of them must really hit home.
Some do. That is the part of the country where I will do a couple Catholic jokes or something, and you'll always get one couple that'll walk out the back, and it's just not for them. But at this point in my career, it's like you can Google me. Like I'm not hiding. Like everything's available of what I do online. I look it up.
That's why I'm drowning, because my shit's out there. I'm drowning. I love the bit about you having, the breathalyzer in your car, which is a true story.
Yes.
How did you get to that point? Tell me that path.
Oh boy, it's a long one. Well, I was arrested 13 times, but to get to that, it was my first arrest as an adult. I was 27 years old, fairly freshly married, and I decided to. I was walking home, I'm not kidding, drunk from a poker party. And I saw that one of the tires on my car was deflated, and I thought I'll just drive up to the old gas station and fill it up. So I drove up to the gas station, and as I'm driving, I get pulled over for, I guess I was speeding, which was hard to believe.
Speeding with a flat tire.
Yes, which was sparking and what have you.
Sure.
So he didn't even impound the car because it would really have just been more work. So when he stopped me, he thought I was, as he said in court, eluding his person, because that's how they talk for some reason.
Eluding his person.
Yes, he thought I was trying to get away from him, and I was like, no, I know. I'm like, no, I'm literally trying to fill up this tire. He's like, the one that's completely flat. I'm like, yeah, that's why I pulled up. He's like, this is a closed gas station. I'm like, okay. He goes, how many of you had to drink? 2, the usual standard of every asshole. Sure. So yeah, long story short, I get very arrested, and I get put into jail. And I'm in jail there.
And what number of arrests was this? The 13th?
This was 13. One? Yeah, this was 13.
Lucky 13.
This was lucky number 13. I was in jail, and there was a guy in there who was much larger than me, and he was crying because he had beaten up his wife. And got put in jail, and I finally just snapped because I wanted to sleep. So I was like, I'm gonna fucking kill you if you don't go to bed. Go to bed. You shouldn't beat your wife, you piece of shit. You're garbage. That's why you're in here. And he's like, Dave, why do you think I'm garbage? Like, he got emotional. I'm like, you're a wife beater. Shut the fuck up and go to bed. So I'm screaming at him.
Are you still drunk when you're screaming at this guy?
Oh, yeah. I never would have. And all of a sudden, this female cop walks up and goes, you need to come with us right now. She handcuffs me, and I'm going to solitary because she said I threatened to kill somebody. So as I'm walking, she goes, look, he's a piece of shit. We're not going to press charges. Just, I have to put you in solitary. And I was like, oh, okay. So she takes my belt, my shoelaces, so I don't kill myself. Right. And I get put in there, and there's nothing in there. And I'm just laying in this empty room thinking about how I got there. And then I went and took a mug shot in front of the judge, which was like a virtual thing the next morning. And I looked, and I hadn't really looked at my face, and I looked like Pablo Escobar. I looked like just a fat, bloated, mustached,
kind of like this.
I looked a bit. Well, yeah, but I'm much chubby, much chubbier. Yeah. You have a lovely frame. I eat your ass anytime.
I had that booze bloat for years. I mean, I see pictures of me from 25 years ago, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I looked like the Campbell Soup Kid joined a mariachi band. It was absurd. And I just look at this mirror and I realized, oh, I've destroyed my life. I've been doing this since I was 13.
Is that really what clicked then?
Yeah, it was, because I realized I'm being arrested as an adult. I got 1 credit when I was 22 on Comedy Central, so I thought I had made it, and I started acting like a fucking rock star. And over time, it caught up with me, and I was drinking a lot, and
How
not as
much?
much as at that time. I mean, at least 10 to 20 beers a night, and God knows how many shots.
Wow,
And
man, that's a lot.
Yeah, but it wasn't even as much as I was drinking when I was young. So to me, I had it under control in my mind, and I wasn't being arrested. I mean, I drank and drove every night, and I would wake up with, you wake up after that blackout, and you got to go out and check your car to make sure there's not any shoelaces in the grill, and you just go and you're just terrified. I've seen orange dents where I'm like, well, I obviously hit a parking like a barrel, which was not the first time.
Or maybe a guy escaping from prison.
Either way, that would make me a hero.
They wear those orange jumpsuits. I don't have to tell you.
Yeah, I woke up from a blackout with the key to the city.
Yeah, exactly. So was that your bottom before you got on? You started sobriety, or what was that? It?
No, I had tried before, but that was my bottom before really taking it seriously.
Okay.
And that is something that it took me to be an adult, because I was arrested before the age of 21, 12 times, and I was charged 7 of those times. The rest of the time I was just left in jail. One time I was beaten, so they let me go, and basically you don't say anything sort of deal. But yeah,
who beat you? Was it another inmate or the cops?
Cops. I had a cop that beat me up several times. Yeah.
Same cop?
Yes.
So take me down that road. And why would he do that? Were you getting yappy, or was he just an asshole, or both?
He was an asshole, and it took me a long time to work out the PTSD, because I don't blame all cops. I really don't, and I blame that guy. And I think a lot of cops are good, and I think right now it's sad. So, but at the time, I was an extreme alcoholic. I can start by, I guess, explaining where I was at mentally. My dad was diagnosed with brain cancer, brain tumor called soft cell sarcoma, which was courtesy of Agent Orange in Vietnam. And he went to his insurance company, who called it a pre-existing condition. And he went to Veterans Affairs, and they said soft cell sarcomas are not a result of Agent Orange. They have since decided that it is, but never gave my family a penny. So my dad, who
to this day, you never got any compensation for it.
Nothing. Because we were 18 by the time he finally died. We were 18 years old when he died. So he had to pay out of pocket basically to stay alive. So he was in the hospital all the time. My mom was there with him. He had to go to Boston for neurosurgery. I stayed at home and went to school. A woman who was, I guess you'd say babysitting. She was like an aunt to me. She had addiction problems that nobody knew about. So while she was staying with me, she actually got in trouble because she was an ER nurse, and she had been stealing medications, and they were about to arrest her and charge her for fraud and all kinds of stuff. And she killed herself. So that was like my first grasp with suicide. There's more in my life, unfortunately, but then I went to live with my other aunt, and I was kind of I felt abandoned, and it wasn't my dad's fault. It wasn't my mom's fault. It wasn't any, it was, if anybody, it was the government's fault for saying, fuck you. We're not going to take care of you, even though your dad served. But it was my own fault for my own responsibilities. But then again, how much does a 13 to 18-year-old kid have to take responsibility when he has, his dad dying?
Of course.
So, first night I got my car, I crashed it. First night I just was this mess. And this one cop harassed every party. And the first time he ever did anything, we were at my friend's house, and it was a bunch of kids partying. And all of a sudden we just hear cops. So I'm like, you got to hide me. I don't want to get arrested again. I had already been arrested a bunch. So my brother's girlfriend, Natalie, throws me in her closet and just throws a bunch of clothes on me like E.T.
Right.
And there's this other girl in the room and she's under a bed. So I'm hiding in this pile of clothes, and all I hear is like the movie Taken. These cops just drag her out from underneath the bed and then walk her out. So a good half an hour goes by, and I'm just sitting in there, and I hear footsteps, and I go, "Are they finally gone?" And I just hear his voice go, "No," and I was like, "Ah, shit." And so I was sitting what was once called Indian style, but crisscross applesauce.
Yes, we can't say Indian. We say Native American style.
I was sitting Native American style.
Okay. Can we say sitting with a carved out coyote hat?
That's correct.
Okay.
I was wearing makeup.
Sure.
Or
maybe that's why they heard you in the closet. You were doing the rain dance, Dave. Okay.
And I was drunk.
Yes, of course.
Don't take
amazing. I don't work. Go ahead.
It's amazing. Yeah. I am. So they dragged me out, these two cops, and at this point I was already drunk to the point that I could barely walk, but I'd been sitting so long my legs were just noodles.
Sure.
So they dragged me to the top of a staircase. There's dozens of kids at the bottom of it, and he just launches me down the staircase. So I roll down the stairs and I crack my head at the bottom of it, and all of a sudden you just hear somebody start going, "Rodney King, Rodney King." So now I swear to God, this entire room of kids are chanting Rodney King at these cops while I'm on the ground, like still trying to get up. They decide not to give any more MIPs or breathalyzers because there's all these witnesses. So they cuff me, they bring me out to the car, and the other girl, who I'll call her Jody, I think that might be her real name,
Sure.
She's in the car with me, and we're driving to the police station, and I'm like, "You're going to be fine. Your parents are rich. So don't even worry about it. You're going to be fine." Just telling her. And she's like, "Oh, you think so?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can call me." And I eventually actually worked a pen out of my pocket I had and got her phone number. I swear on my life, because she was cuffed in the front and I was cuffed in the back.
I don't think that was your pocket.
Yeah,
I just want to tell you.
Yeah. I always had a pen. It wasn't to write. It was to clean out my pipe.
Right. Of course.
Yeah.
Right.
So, that's the only reason I had one.
Yeah. I'm
so, and he's driving and he's like, "Dave, stop it. Knock it off." And I'm like, "Fuck you, pig. Eat shit." Like, just talking all this shit.
Yeah.
I ended up getting there. I get charged with minor possession, attending an underage drinking party. Yeah. And I told my mom what had happened. And so they contacted all the kids. And the only people who said it happened was the two who owned the house, because obviously they had MIP tickets. And everybody else was like, "No, I wasn't even there. I was at church," because all these kids didn't want to get in trouble with their parents.
Sure. At church is always good. That's a good alibi.
Yeah, they're just so I hate teenagers. Like, they all could have just said, "Yeah, that's what now they'll talk about it, no problem."
Sure.
when I needed them, they were nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
So that was one incident. And then the other incident was, sorry if I'm babbling on.
No, this is what it's about. This is your journey, brother.
Yeah, the other incident, which was one of several. I mean, he arrested me more than anybody.
Did he ever try to? Were you ever in juvie? Did they ever try to help you? Did they ever go to your parents since you were, underage? Was there ever anything set in place after the 9th, 10th arrest where let's try to get this kid help? Was any of that ever?
Yes. My neighbor 2 doors down was a police officer and helped me get a couple of charges dropped. And he was a really nice guy, a really, really good dude. And he told me that the guy who had been kind of harassing me was pretty pissed off that I was hooking up with the girl he liked. I'm not even kidding. So the guy liked this teenage girl that worked locally at Big Boy. Yeah. And they told me that everybody on the force hated this guy. So it wasn't just me. Like, from what I understand, he's been out of there for a while. Like, they hated the guy. But yeah, after a while, I did a little bit of time just in jail when they would arrest me. But then But it was
juvie, right?
Yeah, it wasn't anything serious. But I was put in a mental institution, which I can do that whole story. I was put in a 30-day rehab program. But I was born in Detroit, and I grew up in Grosse Pointe Woods, which is sort of it's the border of Detroit. It's as middle class as you can be in America. And so I grew up on the border of one of the most dangerous ghettos in America at the time, the east side of Detroit, and this wealthy place where, I mean, like the Fords lived on these streets. Like I saw
Grosse Pointe, right?
Yeah, I saw privileged money, partied in mansions at, in 1 minute, and the next minute I'd be in a crack house. It was just where I grew up was very important, and they couldn't really put a kid like me into the Wayne County jail system because I would probably just get the shit kicked out of me or be killed. It was way, way too violent then. So you can talk about white privilege, and I'd be happy to admit that, I did have it because there was just no way that they could put me in there. And it's a broke city, and at the time was very corrupt. So anytime anybody from Grosse Pointe got in trouble, they'd milk them for money. I mean, our mayor, one's in prison. Coleman Young was extremely corrupt. We've had a bad run. So it all came down to just cash, which my family did not have a lot of, but I was lucky.
What kind of work did your father do when he got out of the?
My dad did a lot of stuff. He was a basketball coach, an English teacher, and then eventually he started working, ironically enough, for catastrophic claims at Allstate Insurance. And he ended up, I know, and he ended up being a high up there. And a lot of the stuff that he worked on was actually helping people that couldn't get help.
And what was your relationship with him?
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
So how did he deal with all these brushes with the law and your addiction? And could he talk to you about it? Was there any discipline action on his end? You had a great relationship. I'm sure it must have come up a lot. No?
It did eventually. It had to. The one night I was beaten by cops was the other night. If you want me to tell you that, long story short, it was very late at night. I was drunk, and I drove my Jeep into my garage, the side of it. So I got out, and I thought the best thing to do at 2 a.m. would be to fix the dent in that I put in my car with a hammer. So the cops pull up and they walk back. Yeah, it's genius to just make as much noise as possible when shit
I'm open to any body and fender stuff. I'm not handy, so I'm listening.
Yeah, that's how you fix a car. Good old hammer. So I'm fixing this, and these cops walk back, and the one cop is there, and he starts poking me with his baton, and he's like, "Why are you such a fucking loser?" And I'm like, I don't know, just it's how I roll. And he goes, "When are you going to get your life together?" I'm like, "I don't know. I have no idea." He goes, "What are you even doing here?" And I was like, "I live here. You're a really good cop." And he goes, "Why don't you get your life together and do something?" I go, "Like be a pig like you?" And I went,
oh boy,
and this is on my son's life. I spit, and it hit him right between the eyes. And this spit is just dripping down his face.
Oh, Lord. Oh,
and
Dave.
The other cop cracked me in the back, and then he cracked me in, and they beat the shit out of me. They brought me in, and I ended up being handcuffed to a hospital bed where they dumped charcoal in my mouth and attached a straw. They shoved a straw in my dick, which is unpleasant.
What do you mean? Is this?
It was to pump my stomach from all the alcohol.
At the psych ward?
Yes.
Okay, so you were in a psych ward when
this was just the hospital that night.
This is the hospital.
This was the hospital that night. Yeah, after I got beat. So I'm in the hospital, and I didn't really say anything to anybody about it. And my dad came to the hospital, and I was covered up so people couldn't see me, but I was being charged with resisting arrest. And I didn't really say anything what happened. And it was the first time I saw my dad, who was a very tough guy. He grew up without a father, grew up in an Irish family, and he never drank. And I found out that night he never drank because his entire family was alcoholics. And I never knew that. And he wasn't from a generation where you shared that with everybody.
Right.
But he just looked at me and he realized that I had inherited this gene that had kind of destroyed his childhood, and he was always hoping that it wouldn't affect mine. And they ended up dropping the charges, and it was because I was friends with the judge, one of the judge's sons, and we went to spring break like 2 weeks later because my dad had to go back to get surgery, so I was able to sneak out and go. And I took my shirt off, and I still had like zebra stripe bruises. And my friend Ray's like, dude, what happened? Because I just didn't want to tell anybody. I was scared, and I was drinking to the point that I would shake. And I ended up getting the charges dropped, sort of, in a background handshake sort of a way.
Yep.
But that was the moment, I found out that I came from a long line of alcoholics. And it was difficult because growing up, I was a really nice kid. It was very hard for me to socialize. It was very hard for me my brother, I have a twin brother. He was very outgoing.
I didn't know you had a twin.
I do. Yeah. I have a twin brother. Yeah.
Does he have any of these isms?
But he's pretty fun about it.
Fun,
okay. He's a good time.
Is it extreme?
No,
like no, not at all.
No,
never had problems with the law. Never that shit.
No, I think the only 2 times that he ever was one time we went down to 8 Mile to get some cheeseburgers when he was completely drunk, and he threw them at a prostitute as we were pulling out, and we interrupted. We interrupted a sting operation and got arrested for soliciting sex. And my brother...
Is that how you solicit sex in Detroit? You throw a hamburger at the hooker?
Yeah, we were throwing these white... Well, he was. I was just laughing.
Because a good food fight gets me as hard as,
It's harder than trigonometry. That's
yes. So he really threw... they had to be White Castle.
White Castle.
Of course. Oh, I used to get drunk and eat those, and when I was on the road, they're the best.
Oh, they were fine. They're a fine throwing burger, and
throw. They get airborne like no other burger.
They're really something. So this woman standing there, and my brother saying like, "How much to put French fries in your ass?" And he's just throwing, and there's just onions.
Not at the drive-up window.
No, after we pulled out.
Okay,
and
that would have been odd.
Yeah, this was on 8 Mile and Gratiot in Detroit in 1999. So this was a pretty rough area, and streetwalkers were always about.
Yeah.
So we got arrested for solicitation of sex. I had the charges dropped. My brother went to court, and they were reading the transcripts. Now, to give you an idea of who was in the room, it was basically a Def Jam audience. Right. So now you have them reading off what my brother was saying.
Right.
So when he goes, "Would you blow us both for extra cheese?" the room just erupts. Like I do this bit on stage, dying laughing. And the judge just says, "I can't charge them for solicitation. He was assaulting her," because everybody was laughing in the court except her. And he's like, "I can charge."
But she was an undercover cop, the hooker.
Yes, during a sting operation. Yeah,
unbelievable.
And so he ended up getting the charges dropped because it didn't actually. It's like when you get charged for murder, but you end up getting, murder 2 is the only thing that makes sense. So you get acquitted. He just got acquitted on a technicality.
Well, you would think if it's a question, it's not solicitation. It's like, "Hey, I want to fuck you." But if you say, "Can I put French fries in your ass? Will you blow us both for extra?" It's a yes or no. Right. So it is. So I think it's as long as you don't bring up the money. Oh my gosh.
I'm sure.
I know we were talking about your book that you're writing, which, and I've been lucky enough. You've shared some chapters with me. Your life story is incredible. Real quick. I do want to just to give us some hope because people love you and you're one of those comics that have an uncanny way of taking incredibly difficult stuff and making it funny and relatable without losing the weight of it. We laugh with you and at you, but it still has this gravitas about it, this heaviness, where we really are with you on this as we listen to your act. So many people need to hear this. I know there's many people struggling. I struggled. I have sobriety behind me, thank goodness, but we know how tough it is. What was your last bottom that got you clean?
The very last bottom I had was when I was in recovery. And what happened was, when I was kicked off of, it's going to sound petty, but I was, which a lot of relapses are.
Sure.
When I was kicked off of Last Comic Standing, I felt that I was finally getting my break. And, I didn't. And for some reason, just as a comic, it meant so much to me. And I was I was doing everything right, and I was even doing I was doing the right thing on stage, and I was making the right moves, and I was always being good to people. And the main person I always hurt was myself. And one day I just lost it, and I got really drunk. And
you were clean during that period before you were kicked off?
I was
for
clean
how long?
For at that point I had been clean for probably about 5 years.
Wow.
Okay. And of all places, I was at my niece's baptism, and there was a keg in the garage, and I was left alone in the garage, and I thought I'd just sneak a beer. And I did. And then I snuck another and
did
another.
Everyone know? Everyone obviously at the family event knew you were
5
years, and they were shitting themselves.
Yeah, I walked out completely shit-faced at a baptism for a child. And my wife took me home, was happy that it happened in front of her, as opposed to just somewhere on the road.
Yep.
And after that, the only other time I came close, and I don't want it to make this depressing, but my mom committed suicide shortly before I moved to New York.
So sorry.
Thank you. Yeah,
this is after your dad's passing.
Long after. She suffered from the moment he got sick. They were together since they were 14. He was her knight in shining armor, and she was horribly bipolar. And she never did anything about it because she was a nurse. And when she was young, she was a thing called a candy striper, which would help out at like mental hospitals. So if somebody had even Down syndrome, she'd watch them get electroshock therapy, or if somebody was depressed, they'd lock them up. And it was a very bad time. So she always saw the mental disorders as a curse, so she would never admit she had one.
Yep. And
her behavior was erratic, and it was constantly, spending tons of money, buying a car that she couldn't afford, and then trying to return it. And just, it was all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And
I've been there. Yep.
Yeah. You grew up in that environment.
Yep.
And
that's some propensities myself that I have to keep track of. I'm trying to unload 3 cars as we speak. I'm being totally honest.
No, I believe you. I didn't mean to laugh, but it's just funny.
You mean you believe
how we are.
No, of course. Yeah. So go ahead. Bless your heart.
What you got?
I got a Bentley with a flat tire. It's right up your alley.
It goes real fast when you're trying to get away from cops.
Right.
She was getting to the point where she'd stay up at, she was a smoker, and she didn't want anybody to know she smoked after a while.
Isn't it crazy how many nurses are smokers, overeaters? It's like, it's a real pressure job, but I always wonder, you would think like with all the stress they're under, I'm sure they have to have things to relieve it, but so many don't take care of themselves when they see people sick all the time. Oh yeah, it's insane to me. Well, I know some of them lost weight from twerking in recent months, but sure, it is funny. It is funny when you get a really big one and they're just like, "We gotta take your blood pressure." It's like, I think we should take yours first. I think I'm all right. Sure. I feel like you're falling apart. Oh right. Yeah, my mom was a smoker. I mean, my mom's a nurse. There's pictures of her holding me as a baby with a cigarette dangling out of her mouth. She's got the heater right there. Look at my boy. Yeah, he's good. He's going to be a baseball player. It's like, no, I'm going to grow to 5'6" because you're blowing smoke in my face. Right. Oh man,
it's incredible. So, she ended up. So anyway, she ended up later on in life. She would listen to music every night, smoke a cigarette, listen to songs my dad loved. Motown was his jam, soul music. That's kind of what I grew up on. And yeah, dude, I think we talked about that the first time we
and you
met.
turned me on to that great band, the Broken Bones, or what is it?
Yeah, St. Paul and the Broken Bones.
Oh, amazing. Love them. Thanks to
Just
you.
an absolutely amazing amazing band. And
love them.
One day I was playing Hilarities in Cleveland, and I talked to my mom, and she just seemed more down than usual, which was odd. And it's odd to even notice that she seemed down. And I just thought, something didn't sit right, but I went home that night anyway. And the next morning I got woken up by my wife, and she said, your mom is dead. And I said, how? And I knew. And he said she committed suicide. And what happened was she had, oddly enough, the same way my babysitter had committed suicide, was she was able to get a bunch of Vicodin, swallow the entire bottle, and she left one note that just said, Michael and David, I'm going to see your dad. I'm sorry. And that was a moment where my addict brain immediately said, oh, I can get fucked up. That's seriously how selfish of a disease it is. Immediately, yes, my thought was, I don't know how to handle this, and now I have an excuse, and nobody can say a fucking word to me. They can all go, I get it. I can do it. I can do whatever I want right now. I can go get some more Coke. I can go do whatever I used to do. Yeah. It's going to be, and I didn't. And I didn't. And that was the moment I realized, like, oh, the program has given me some strength. I've been able to actually work this to the point that I didn't have to react the way that I did. And,
and you were clean at that point, obviously.
I was clean at that point. Yeah.
For how long?
Geez. I probably, at least 3 years, 2 years, 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. At that point.
Wow. What a strength. What an amazing strength at the most vulnerable time.
And I have this weird, it's called HPPD. It's from the amount of LSD I used to do. So I'm not good with time. But at that moment, it was the time that I realized I could kind of make the right decision. And I was able to take care of it. My brother fortunately understands financials, and me and my brother and I aren't people that would rip each other off or fight over something, so we it was the two easiest people, like they said, lawyers and stuff said they could ever deal with. It was just very simple.
Thank goodness. Family when you needed it.
Yeah. The only part was my brother wanted to renovate the house, and I let him, because I'm like, why are you renovating? Just sell it, but I realized he didn't want to sell the house he grew up in.
Did you?
And I would have been fine with it, but once I thought about it, everything in that house, the way it was painted, the way that the wood paneling and shag carpet was still there from the 1970s, because my mom got stuck right in about 1977, and nothing ever changed from that moment on.
You looked at that shag carpeting, and you're like, that was my bed most of my life.
That was the tall grass when I played G.I. Joes.
Right. Exactly.
And my mom was the only person who could find a lime green fridge that was new. And you're like, where are you going?
It's the best.
Like,
we had the avocado green fucking kitchen. Yeah. Oh man. That's tell us about your book, because I can't wait. I really can't. I think it's going to be a very powerful memoir, as they say. What's the title? When do you think you're going to put it out?
It's called Party of One, because and thank you, Brad actually is doing the foreword, so that means the world to me.
We'll see.
Yeah, if you still do it, I don't know how.
Hopefully, not with your attitude. I'm honored. I'm honored to do it. I'm honored to do it.
It meant the world, because I know that you've been through a lot of the stuff that I had, and I wanted somebody to get it, and it meant a lot to me. You got it like you did. And it's called Party of One because it represents the party of one being complete loneliness, and the fact that I thought everything was a party. It's kind of a double meaning to me, alone. And I was very much alone. I was surrounded in good friends that loved me, but I was broken, and I still struggle with that. I struggle greatly with depression. And
what do you do for it?
Right now, I've always exercised, not a ton, look at me, but I exercise, I read, I'll write something, I'll go for a walk, I'll listen to music that might cheer me up. I might even listen to depressing music. I just do anything I can, and sometimes it's a lot harder than other times.
How do you stay grateful? Because you must have quite a bit of gratefulness, I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
How do you stay grateful with what you've had to endure and go through, and probably gratefulness has to be part of what keeps you clean. I think it does for me, at least. I don't know.
Gratitude is all of it.
Yeah.
And I'd be lying if I said that a lot of times I didn't struggle with it, because sometimes things just aren't good enough, and I want them to be better because I'm insecure. It's low self-esteem. I want things to be better, and I don't think I deserve things. I have a lot of that self-hate. And but what I do is, it's my son, because when I'm around my son, I'm a different person in the sense of everything's about him, and
it should be.
Yeah, and he just turned 5, and people say, like, kids ask me the dumbest questions. I've never heard a dumb question, because he's never seen these things that he's asking me about. Like, I get to tell him about the world. Like, that's an insane gift. Yes. Like, I get to teach him to be nice, and he's a good kid, and he likes to learn. He loves, like, he just started kindergarten. He loves learning. He loves school, and that's something that I hated. He has a bunch of friends. And that's how I stay grateful, is I have this person who I hope I've lived a certain life that he can at least look at the good parts and realize the bad ones. And in many ways, this book is for him, because this book is entirely ages 13 to 20. And that's the part of my life that I put in there, because...
See, that's great to have a book for that demo, stuff they need to read. But what's great is, if it wasn't for your journey, which only you know how painful it was, you wouldn't be able to raise your son with the self-esteem that you were missing.
It's very true.
And what greater gift than giving that to a child, because that's self-esteem, man. That's the thoroughfare to anything healthy. And if you look at people that struggle with addiction or various kind of mental illness, a lot of it is chemical, as we've seen, as you've learned by hearing about your dad's childhood and the people generations from you. So, but there are things that, nature, nurture, I always go back and forth, but they do go hand in hand, and sometimes one outweighs the other. But just to see you talk about your boy, I remember when he was born, and he's lucky to have you, and I'm happy you're okay. And give us the name of the book. Also, put up Trev, put up his Twitter. Do you have Twatter, as I call it? Do you have Instagram? What do you got?
Yes, I have. I have Twitter. It's at Landau Dave. It's great. It's a great toxic shithole. So if you want to see me, dude, it's the worst. I don't even go. I do like one tweet a week, and then maybe I advertise my shows every day. But other than that,
my last 2 tweets, because I got out of Twitter recently after seeing the you got to watch the documentary, The Social Dilemma. Check it out, man. That day I went, fuck it. I got off of Twitter, told all of my 109 followers we have better shit to do. But my last 2 tweets was to fuck Donald Trump, because I'm mature, and also that piece of shit Marilyn Manson. I don't know if anyone's following what he did when Evan Rachel Wood, the wonderful actor, they were together, and how she was pretty much kept a hostage at 18. What he put her through is now she just had to come out with it. And it's like a Me Too moment, but it's way beyond the continued abuse and sexual assault. And she was 18 and had no, and it was a fuck you Marilyn Manson thing too.
Yeah,
but you can't trust a guy with makeup like that. Now you look at my makeup, I'm only wearing foundation.
That's true.
You're glowing, Davey. You're glowing. Well, give us the name of the book one more time. Party of One.
It's Party of One. And yeah, I want to say I tried to read Marilyn Manson's book and he was so up his own ass. I stopped reading it after the first chapter.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised he's the R. Kelly kind.
Yeah, he really some frightening shit. But when you hear about those people, don't you feel so much more grounded and well and safe? And you read these people, you go, wow, I'm gonna, it's like you look at Trump and you'll go, well, I'll never be that.
Well, so yeah, I crash a lot of cars, but so far I haven't pissed on a 13-year-old that I keep in a closet. So yeah, I guess tit for tat, I'm winning.
That is a big win. And what a wonderful way to say goodbye.
Yes.
That was, brother, you're the best. You're one of my faves. We miss you at the club. I miss the club. I hope we open. You're literally, everyone's like, when's Landau coming back? And just know that you're loved and we're here for you. Party of One, it's going to be on Amazon Books, right?
Yeah, we're going to do Amazon Books and then I'm going to publish it and, we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, well, any way I can help to get that word out, because it's a journey that people have to read. So honest, so funny, and they have to hear about the time, the way you spin everything into humor. But when you were in that psych hospital and your roommate, if you read the book for just that alone, and maybe you'll come back when it's published and it's out, and I promise I'll shave and I'll do my hair.
I will be more than honored to come back, and I will not
love
shave.
To the family. My love, good.
And my love to yours.
Peach.
And Max, I love too. I see him on Instagram all the time too.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I know he'd want me to say hi to you too, because he's as well a fan. We love you, brother. Stay safe. Thank you for this incredible, transparent chat and giving everybody hope. That does it for me and Travis and No Prisoners. Take care. God, Travis, what the fuck, man? Okay, what do you have, somewhere to go? Huh? What, did the archery range just open? It's okay to ask for help, everyone. God knows I did. Take care, everybody. Hit it, Travis! While this podcast may discuss medical issues and at times answer or discuss listeners' questions, this podcast is not offering any individual medical advice, nor meant to substitute for individualized professional medical treatment or advice. So please remember that all content is for informational purposes only. And please consult with your own healthcare provider for your own issues and diagnosis. If you think you may have a medical emergency, do the right thing and call your doctor, or go to a local emergency room, or call 911 immediately. Never delay seeking individualized help for a problem based on something discussed here. Take care of yourself. You're worth it.